Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series, Sega Racing Renaissance, where I review every single 3D arcade-released, Sega-developed racing game ever made. Today we got a really fun and weird one for you. It is Club Kart European Sessions. Normally Sega makes a racing game, it either involves motorcycles or cars, but this is go-karts, and it's really interesting. Apparently kart racing is huge in Europe, and that's probably why the game takes place in Europe, and it's called the European Sessions. Before I get too far involved though, if you do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. That way I can buy myself my own racing go-kart. But all jokes aside, this game looks really funny in motion, but honestly, it's a very competent racing game that I don't know anything about because I'm not into go-kart racing. But of course, Sega made it, and you know that means there's going to be some really awesome driving mechanics and some actual challenge. And I would say it is very easy to finish the race. You're not going to run out of time. But actually getting a first place finish in this game is exceedingly hard. It's maybe the hardest racing game I've played in this entire series as far as getting that checkered flag in first is concerned. Seems like third or second relatively easy, but you need to basically run a perfect race to be able to get on that podium in the top spot. This is running on the Sega NAOMI 2, one of the few games that runs on the NAOMI 2, and it does look better than a NAOMI or a standard Dreamcast spec, but it definitely is still in that retro gaming status for sure. But as I run around this course here and bump into those tires, it takes a lot of getting used to racing this go-kart. Lines are super important because your speed obviously isn't huge. These aren't cars like in Daytona or Scud Race. They're not Porsches or Ferraris. These are go-karts. But one of my favorite things about the game are the animations. You get a full animation for your hands when you sit forward to increase your speed. This is all done automatically, but if you're going downhill, you will see the driver shift forward and move their bodies into the corners to get a little bit extra juice going. And if you move the camera around or see an opponent, their feet on the pedals and on the brake do move up and down. The attention to detail in this game is absolutely staggering. You can tell Sega loved developing it because they put as much into it as they possibly could. I got a third place finish, and you're going to see that a lot, but we get that little rotation around there. Kind of looks like the Stig from Top Gear. Now there is one downside to emulating this game versus using original NAOMI hardware, and that is that there was a Club Kart card that you could save your progress on, and you can emulate the data into an original NAOMI 2 if you do have the hardware, but it allows you to name your driver, and more importantly, it allows you to pick the colors of your kart. So we can do something like go into the configuration menu and pick our pink, our cyan, and our yellow that I use for the channel, and I can make a video game esoterica kart, and that is just a ton of fun. But if you are emulating this game, don't expect to be able to save the Club Kart card data, which means you're not going to be able to see the whole thing all at once, but you can still race around on all the tracks and have a really good time. Now that I've set up that Club Kart card, and that is a mouthful data, we have our own custom colorways here for our racer, probably livery if that's the correct term for a race car. But again, this game is just a ton of fun. It is charming, it's endearing, and the racing is really, really good. The most important thing being the lines you take around the course, because your go-kart is not anywhere near as fast as a race car, which means you need to be more precise. There's a lot of bump and run action in this game. You really need to be on top of everything you're doing, and probably more than any other game in this series, learning the courses is going to be crucially important because you're not trying to shave off seconds. You're trying to shave off tenths of seconds, because there I came into that corner too hot, and I had to take that turn wide, and I lost that place. And that's why I do love this game, even though at face value it looks kind of goofy, and honestly it is a little goofy to me, but there's nothing wrong with having a smile on your face when you're playing a Sega arcade racing game. But what is not goofy is just how good you have to get at it, because you'll see the map in the top left corner. It's not a big track because of course we're not going that fast, but this turn here still took a little bit wide and you lose your speed. Maintaining your speed in these go-karts is the most important thing that you can do. A better turn there, I maintain more speed out of the apex, and I get third place. But it's got a really interesting soundtrack as well, so go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds and I'll be right back. Enjoy!
3, 2, 1, go!
The soundtrack's really good, and I love the sound effects for the engines because they have that dirt bike far away in the distance sound to them, or like a little bit of a leaf blower engine, even though I'm sure the engineering on these karts is as good as regular race cars are in Europe and North America. But again, what I love so much about this game is that in motion, especially in first person, you do get a good sense of speed, and you get to learn how to take the lines in the course, or in this instance, how not to take them as I bounce off that stack of tires right there. This is a game that demands perfection from you, and it demands so many replays, because I'm just bouncing off everything, because it's been a while since I played it, and I'm going to end up losing this position right here. But that's the great thing about this game. You want to keep playing the course over and over again, because I was able to bump back into third place, but I just hit the brakes a little bit too much on this corner, and the third place gets lost to me. He just squeaks it out there right at the finish line, and I don't have enough speed to overtake him. That's how important your racing line is in this game. Something like Outrun 2 or even Daytona, once you've seen all the courses and you've won the game, there's not much to come back to. It's pretty easy to get good quickly. Something like Club Kart, though, takes hours upon hours to get genuinely good at the game. You have to keep replaying the same courses over and over and hone that line, and you start thinking as you're racing around what you could be doing better. And that's why this game is so much fun, even if it is just go-karts. And that's the thing, if you saw this game in a screenshot, you might think it looked a little bit odd, you might not go back to it. But with a good racing line right there off the front, I get first place and I start leaning forward into that hill to pick up a little bit more speed. And there's just such an attention to detail in this game, and it does look beautiful on the NAOMI 2 with those lens flares and the light coming through the trees. This was Sega's last in-house arcade hardware. This and Hikaru kind of were at the same time, before they moved on to using Xbox hardware and then just PC hardware in a box itself. So this is one of Sega's last arcade games on their own hardware, and it is an absolute blast to play as well. And you can get this worked up for multiplayer if you have more than one NAOMI 2 board, but I'm assuming the amount of people that are watching this video that can do that in their own home are probably like 2, myself included, so maybe just 1. But you'll see, at least for the first lap, I am carrying that first place position still, but I'm going to start making a few mistakes, and that's going to lose me the checkered flag. And that's how this game really hooks you in. It starts showing you how to be good, but one mistake costs you the race. So you realize I need to go back in and start racing better, because that was an excellent turn right there. We're really close to the apex when we're coming out. Everything is going well. And then you start realizing to yourself as you're playing the game, don't make a mistake. One mistake and I'm going to be in trouble. And here it is. I just take that turn a little bit too wide and I'm in third place immediately. That's how challenging and technical this game truly is. If you just bump the wrong way, you slide out, and I went from first place to fourth place that quickly. One mistake cost me everything, and that is the unfortunate part of this game. I'm going to be able to get second, but I could have got first if I had just been a little more careful around that last turn. And that's why Club Kart European Session has become one of my most recent favorite Sega arcade racing games, because it just makes you want to keep coming back. But like I said, unfortunately, if you're going to emulate this and not use original hardware, you are going to run up into a little bit of an issue with that Club Kart card and not being able to save your progression. Is this worth buying a NAOMI 2 for and setting it up with a wheel in your house? Well, I think so, but I also make very foolish decisions in the pursuit of being able to play all these arcade games at home. But if you have any questions, leave them down below or leave me a comment. Are you more interested in playing this game now that I've talked about it? I'll be back next week with more racing, and I'll have videos throughout the week as well. Bye-bye.